Okay, in this video today, we're going to talk about the multiple ways that you could potentially have your prospects that you're paying through your pay-per-click campaigns, whether it's Facebook, Google, LinkedIn ads, wherever you're running ads, you could have set up to contact you. Of course, if people have an option to do more than just buy from your site through your shopping cart or whatever, ultimately I'm going to discuss how those communication methods that you offer people, even if you do just are an e-commerce company, why multiple communication methods matter, how many you should use, how you should actually offer those communication methods, and again, basically, if you do only sell a product that you only want people to contact you and check out through your site, why some of these other communication methods should be added to your site to increase greatly the ROI of your campaigns, and a lot of people miss or overlook. So anyway, on this particular video, as usual, I have a short list of need-to-know things about communication sources or methods on your site, what to do in terms of running a pay-per-click campaign in order to get the most out of it, and ultimately, if you should have people be able to call you, what that means, email, chat, be able to text you. There's a lot of different communication methods available and out there today, and have been available online for quite some time. Why you see some people use them and some people don't, and then the people that don't use them, what you're missing out on. So anyway, I'll go through my list here. The first thing on my list here, the reason you should expect more from your pay-per-click campaigns if you allow alternative methods for a customer to contact you, other than like I said, if you just sell a product, just checking out and giving you their credit card information, or potentially through the contact form on your site, what that actually means for you in terms of the ROI from these campaigns. So the first thing to know about this is everybody is different. Everybody has their own different preferred methods of communication. So even if you think that you have a contact form on your site, people can contact you there if they have questions or concerns or want a quote or whatever it is, or you're trying to run a campaign for do lead generation, the only thing you're going to provide is a form. You're not going to allow people to call you, or potentially you have a phone number for people to call you and a form. Ultimately, how having a chat, a live chat method, will also, what that means for your business if you offer that in addition to the other two, and or texting. They'll be able to text you for a certain information or ask a question or so on and so forth. The reason why having all these different methods instead of one or two or even just three is because everybody has a different method of communication. Some people hate the phone. Some people, if you don't have the phone, will not communicate with you any other way. So at the very least, if the person has a question in order to buy, you're not going to get that order specifically there, even though you think that potentially or perhaps that you can force people to email you if they have a question. A lot of times what people will say in that situation is, well, I don't want to fill in a form, therefore it's too much trouble, I'll leave. And a lot of times people don't want to call. The form is especially good for after hours, because people they can't call, or some people just don't like to call. They're in a noisy environment, whatever. They just want to fill out the form. So if you only have call, it's the same thing. Even though mostly it more hurts you, where I've seen mostly everybody has email, but they'll skip the number and then they'll miss out on a lot of sales when having the number. And just give you just a quick insight into that alone, having a form versus a phone number where people can call. A lot of times you're going to miss 10 to 50% of your conversion rate of your site, whether it's a local service campaign, an e-commerce campaign, national lead generation campaign, for a couple different reasons. The first one that's big, that's in addition to or different than everybody has a different communication method, so therefore if they have a question that's necessary to make a purchase from you, they just won't do it because it's an inconvenience to them or they don't feel comfortable with it. People the more communication methods you have on your site for people that are coming for their PPC campaigns, the more they're going to trust you. And trust, if you're not an already trusted brand out there and they never heard of you before, and they're looking for, an auto part for their car, and they can buy from Amazon or they can buy from you, how do they know to trust you? Well, one of the things, and by the way, if you're a small company, that gives you an edge on Amazon is being able to offer good customer service and sales through the phone. You can't get that through Amazon. And I've seen lots of people have several $1 million a year e-commerce businesses selling very small, just paint products for, let's say a roofing paint product or something. That's all they sell because they offer a way for somebody to ask questions there that you can't necessarily get through Amazon so easily, or get through, if you went to Home Depot, you're not going to get that kind of support there, and that's the particular edge there. But people, they'll see the phone number. Not only are they not encouraged to call, get on-the-spot help, which a lot of people want, and ultimately will do business with you if they really prefer the phone to ask questions. They'll not see the phone number there, and then they'll wonder, some more than others, but a higher percentage than you think, 10% or so. Maybe depending on what niche you're in, it could be a little bit more than that. We'll just say, I wonder if I order here, what they're saying is true, that if I want to return it or have a problem with it, or what they're saying has been misrepresented, that I can track them down. And they'll look for a phone number. And if they don't see a phone number and they see if they have a problem, the only thing they can do is email you, you've lost a good 10% of your orders, potentially just from that alone. And one way you can test that for yourself, by the way, is you can just add the phone number and remove it and just see the conversion rate of your site. Another way to look at this is that I've seen a lot of times that people just have a landing page with a form on it, no phone number. We have a phone number on the main site. 5 to 10% of the people will actually leave to go to the main site from their landing page and then call from there, just because not only do they like the phone, like as a preferred method of communication, as mentioned before, but also they want to make sure that they can get a live person so they can track you down if they have a problem. So tracking you down, potentially. And then with that, by the way, is the other things that get you trust from people where they don't know of you yet, that they want to know you, is this, along with the additional communication methods, phone being the big one there in terms of trust. Having your actual address, physical address of where you're located, your legal name, that kind of stuff. And then also being active on social media. If they have a problem with your company, can they go out on Twitter and tweet and say that they didn't get their order shipped? Do you have that hanging over your head, so to say? So it's along those same lines as to how that affects your sales. And so therefore, for that reason alone, trust, being 10% or so of people won't even order from you if you don't have a phone number on your site, which you can clearly and test yourself and see if you want to throw 10% of your money away just to not have to speak to anybody. You can do that for yourself, but realistically, it's probably more than 10% when you factor the amount of people who want to call and ask questions and just will be discouraged not to because there's phone numbers, no phone number on your site. That you could potentially, that could be that extra 20-30% that actually makes you go to a 5-to-1 return on your ad spend to an 8-to-1, that one thing alone. But along with that, if we go one step further, the additional communication methods that you offer on your landing pages or on your site that you take people to from your PPC campaigns will remove lots of friction in the buying process, particularly when you go one step further and you add the phone, if you've never had it before, because it's easier to just immediately get an answer versus type in the form and then have to wait a day or two to get a response, or even if you respond right away, people don't expect that, so then they'll think they have to wait a day, therefore discouraging them from asking the question in the first place. And by the way, there was a survey, you can look this up, that asked whether you would clean a toilet or fill out a form. More people would be willing to clean a toilet than fill out a form, particularly because you may be able to type fast, but a lot of people, and especially if you're targeting older people, it takes them 10 minutes to fill out that form sometimes, especially if it's a long form, so you should take that into consideration. All right, so, and by the way, as a side note there, the text size with age demographic in the U.S. getting older, size of text actually matters a lot. Even if you can make it bigger by default, having bigger text, you might want to try that out as well. But so if you have a phone, you'll get a boost. But then if you go one step further, if you have the phone and the email already, you can have the live chat. I've seen people where they many times been able to just, they literally double the amount of sales and the leads that they're getting by having live chat. And I'm not talking about the typical live chat that most people have. Well, the worst would be if they have a bot to respond, which is garbage, just complete garbage. It shows people that it makes people think, how could I trust this company if they're going to have a bot do their customer service? I don't want to deal with that if I have a problem with them, going back to the whole track you down thing. But, having that live chat in the lower right, everybody has that, and everybody knows nobody responds to that right away. So therefore, it's almost like the form. But if you have a live chat that shows up right in the center of the screen and it says, hey, I know you're interested in the black scarves that we have for sale, and I'm here to answer. I'm a black scarf expert. As weird as that sounds, just give you a hypothetical example. Do you have any questions about black scarves and the quality, or questions of the material that you have, and like what's right for you? Much like, as I mentioned before, for e-commerce companies, your edge is being able to actually call and talk to an expert that sells the individual thing that you sell, because you're not going to be able to get that through Amazon or a local brick and mortar big box store, if you will. And so that live chat can literally, double your ROI. People complain, just like with the phone, oh, I don't want to talk to customers. Well, frankly, no offense, why are you in business if you don't want to talk to a customer? You want your whole business to be automated. Well, good luck trying to. Maybe you'll be able to make that work. If you can't, find the ROI is usually there if you can have somebody man the chat. Maybe not instantly, but once you know what the numbers are and you scale up the ad spend, you add the person in there. That usually can make the difference if you're not quite there with the ROI now. And you can do chat. And then taking it one step further, you can add text. It's another good one. You can do text me when I'm on here. Text me the price. People don't want to call to get the price. Sometimes they'll want to text. Then at least you get their information if you're one that wants to get information from people to get the price on what you offer. Or text me when it's back in stock. So if it's out of stock, that's just one of the things that I know that you can add to an e-commerce campaign for stuff that's out of stock, capture the lead and still get the customer later on. Or, if you don't always have it in stock, definitely want to be able to add that. You can be, along with that, you can say, text me, the directions, so on and so forth. And as a side note, there are any local campaigns where people have to come to you. I highly, highly, highly recommend click here for driving directions and take people to Google Maps so they can download the driving directions directly from their phone on a mobile device, or even on a desktop or anything else. Sometimes people just put the information text to their phone. It's easier for them. So, but you kind of get the idea here. The more options you give the user to respond, and sometimes they aren't ready to order, so they can take micro actions with you, the more overall ROI you're going to get, not only because it's easier, but people have different communication methods, and also then at the same time, you're giving people a higher level of perceived trust because you really seem on top of the ball in terms of wanting to do good customer service. People translate that into companies they can trust, and therefore, if they're going to pick indiscriminately between you and 5 other, 10 other companies, who are they going to choose? The one that they trust the most. Well, that person they trust the most might very well be the person that looks like they are the most open to their, in terms of sales and customer service they offer. So, but anyway, I want to say to you right now, if you're just doing like a form and you add the phone and the chat, the text, all this stuff added together, I mentioned just from chat, a lot of times you can double if you have someone there. So yes, it might cost you $3,000 a month to actually have a salesperson working the chat leads. By the way, in the car sales industry, they know this fundamentally, and their whole business runs off of sales. If you do this for your business, you can double the amount of ROI you get from these ads. You just need a little bit more volume on the ad spend. You can usually always make that ROI work and just be the one person that does it in your niche. everybody else doesn't want to waste the time, and then you're the one cleaning up here. But if you add that in the text option, your phone, 2 to 3 times ROI on top of the ROI that you're getting right now. If you're starting with form only, you might get 2.5 ROI. If you have email and phone, you're adding chat and text. If you have phone, email, and text, and you're going to add chat, potentially 2x ROI. You get the idea here. The more you add, the higher ROI potentially you're going to have. And don't just glaze over it and say, oh, I can't afford to have somebody answer the leads, because, frankly, it's not about, again, whether it makes money today and the ROI is there. If you're spending $5,000 a month on ads, you can't make the ROI work. You get the ROI, where it needs to be to scale up $5,000 a month in ads. You can scale up to $50,000 a month in ads. That person then, makes you an extra $10,000 a month in profit on top of their cost. You just have to be able to scale the ad spend up a little bit. And so, as I mentioned on other videos, you have to be willing to do what it takes to get profitable at the beginning, not just look at it as, oh, I'll do all this stuff once it is profitable, because you'll just never get there. You do whatever it takes to get profitable on a small scale basis, and then from there you scale up. That scaling part gets really easy if you fundamentally did all the small stuff like this I had mentioned, to actually not just do what the other competitors are willing to do, which are probably not making very much. There's only 2 or 3 people in your whole space running ads probably making most of the money, 80% of the money. You want to be in that 2 or 3 of your niche, actually making that 80% of the money, of the profit, if you will, doing all this stuff, going further than anybody else, and then you make most of the money. So everybody else that's lazy, wants to do so much, is going to make basically a little bit or to none or none at all. The people that go and actually serve the customer makes the millions of dollars in profit a year from what you're doing, and is able to scale up an ad spend to $50, $100 grand a month and generate several million dollars a year in revenue / profits for your business doing that. So anyway, that's just another simple little thing that you can do to increase the ROI of your PPC campaigns, whether it's Facebook or Google or wherever you're running the ads, just by adding a little bit more human touch to what you're doing. Something that anybody can do. And if you don't have anybody to hire, you do it yourself until you make enough money to hire somebody else to do it. I have a lot of other videos like this that you can watch on my YouTube channel. I come out with a video every single day. Lots of small tips and tricks like this to get a PPC campaign to work for yourself or to work better. You can also go to guaranteeppc.com and go to our blog. I have a lot of step-by-step money-making PPC strategies there. But I really hope that you did enjoy this video. Leave a comment down below if you have some questions or concerns about how to actually do your communication methods and call to action to reach out to you on your PPC landing pages. If you get stuck with it or have any questions about that, something wasn't unclear, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you get my future updates about other money-making strategies that can help you make money on your PPC campaigns moving forward.